When you get into the world of female hormone replacement therapy, it ain't a game. It is really serious. Estrogen as a whole, as an umbrella, and estradiol being the major metabolite, is so potent. We need estradiol to help us grow our bones, to help us grow our brain. The counterbalance to estrogen and estradiol is something called progesterone. In many cases, I believe that insulin resistance is truly the beginnings of a imbalance in hormones, starting with elevated estrogen and low progesterone. This is where we start seeing a lot of these females' diseases coming from. We can start utilizing hormones for them, and it gets better over time. Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. Nico Misleh here, joining you with the Nico Misleh Podcast. I wanted to talk a little bit about the advanced female course in some ways. This is something that I've been working on for, believe it or not, almost a year now. I practically started it alongside the other course, but knew that I really need to delay the foundation first before jumping into this advanced course. So the advanced female course is truly advanced. And what I mean by that is a lot of people, when they think that they're taking a basic female course with the foundational female course, as it's called, in that, again, you can take it as a single course, you can take it as a part of the HRT University Master course. That is not basic, it's foundational, meaning there is more information packed into that female course, that beginning female course, than any course that I know of. It is really going to teach you the principles of hormone replacement therapy and hormones in general, because that is so key to becoming not just a good clinician, but a great clinician when it comes to hormone replacement therapy. If you are a provider and you're getting into the world of hormone replacement therapy, first of all, freaking huge high five, because I love that and I want you to do that. And your patients want you to do that. The whole world needs you to be doing that. So really, I commend you. But when you get into the world of female hormone replacement therapy, it ain't a game. It is really serious. And I'm not saying that to scare you away from it. I'm saying that to connect with you and help you understand that this is a really serious path. It's a path of becoming an expert, becoming a master at your craft, at what you do for a living, and helping these ladies of many different ages who are suffering tremendously. And it is very, very easy to mess up and create a lot of mistakes and not be able to learn from those mistakes if you just don't understand the inner workings of hormones and the inner workings of hormone replacement therapy, right? So I want you to understand the literal endogenous, right, internal hormone processes, because it helps give you a lot of clues as to what happens when we also use exogenous, external hormone replacement therapy. They're not one-to-ones. So there are some really key differentiating things that you need to know between endogenous hormone replacement or endogenous hormone production and exogenous hormone replacement therapy. Okay, so what are some of those principles? And again, we explore these in great detail. I mean, I have 20 hours worth of content on this within the course because it ain't no joke. But to kind of speak to it broadly, we are living in a world where we have seen hormone levels dropping since the 1960s. At the very least, we've seen that clearly from testosterone. What we have seen increase is the abundant and ubiquitous xenoestrogens, right? These fake estrogens that are put in all sorts of these, chemical, plastics and phthalates and BPA, all these nasty things. They're everywhere, right? These microplastics, we call them. They're in our food, they're in our water, they're in our clothing. And so at this point, they're rather inescapable. You were exposed to them in utero, literally within the womb of your mother. Your mother was likely exposed to them as well, depending on your age. Your kids and their kids, your grandkids will be exposed, and it's at higher and higher levels each generation, right? We're also seeing that to be true too. And so what happens when we're exposed to tremendous amounts of these xenoestrogens? Well, they hit on these estrogen receptors, but at varying degrees of intensity and frequency, right? So they can literally create a mountain out of a molehill. Estrogen as a whole, as an umbrella, and estradiol being the major metabolite, is so potent. It's really, in my opinion, it's kind of a primordial hormone, right? It's like the beginnings of hormones. Estradiol was one of them. We see that across vertebrates in general. Why? Because estradiol is a growth hormone. It actually tells our primordial cells within our own bodies to grow and differentiate, right? Become this or become that. It's such an incredible molecule. It deserves a lot of reverence. And we need that, right? So we need estradiol to help us grow our bones, to help us grow our brains and nervous system and our heart and cardiovascular, system, and protect us from inflammation in many ways, protect our mitochondrial function, but only to a certain degree. The counterbalance to estrogen and estradiol is largely, for both men and women to some degrees, something called progesterone, right? If estradiol is grow and stimulate and excitatory, right? Literally, that's what estradiol does and estrogen does. It makes us grow and feel literally excited, right? Stimulate us. That's where we get a lot of the libido and antidepressant types of stuff from, cognitive function. Well, progesterone is the yin to the yang there, right? Progesterone is calm, relax, take it easy, stop growing, right? So in females, what does estrogen and estradiol do? It helps females grow their endometrial lining, right? Month after month after month. It helps grow a baby, a fetus, right? Estradiol does all those amazing things. Progesterone tells it to stop, right? Don't grow this endometrial lining too thick, dude. Don't enhance the size and shape and quantity of what would be like a polycystic ovarian, quote unquote, cyst or tumor even, right? So we can see where estrogens kind of push the limits there. We have too much growth. We get into these really odd things like endometrial stripes, endometriosis, inflammation in the pelvic region, polycystic ovaries, and then moving towards things like, God forbid, tumors and cancers. Progesterone is anti practically all of that. Again, this is the yin and the yang. We need a little bit of both. Well, we live in a world in which women, young women especially, generally 99% of them, produce tremendous amounts of estrogen throughout their young adult lives. That's the whole point of being a female to some degree. Men do too, by the way. But at some point, if we start having estrogen levels rising up and dropping down and progesterone rising up and dropping down, at some point, if we then compound the effect with these things like microplastics and xenoestrogens, these chemicals found in our hygiene products and food and clothing and water and all the things I described earlier. Well, now we have almost like think about it like a doubling or perhaps even a tripling or quadrupling effect on our male and female estrogens at large. So we have now more relative estrogen, quote unquote, even though they're not really estrogens, then we do something like progesterone. And in fact, the more estrogen we have, the relative drop of progesterone is going to accumulate dramatically. Those estrogens are also going to stimulate glucocorticoid receptors. Literally, it's going to stimulate more like cortisol production and norepinephrine and adrenaline and all those things, which then put us at more risk of that kind of flight or fight response, right? We have a little bit more of that sympathetic nervous system rush. And if we don't leave that, we're going to start having a hampering on our thyroid, which is then going to impact our ovaries and their production and the steroidogenesis production of other hormones. And specifically, that could be progesterone. So now if you can kind of picture this, we're having this spiraling down effect where we start with very high estrogen levels and it starts impacting various regions of the male and female body all the way down to something like progesterone. And in the meanwhile, that estrogen or xenoestrogen is going to stimulate those glucocorticoid receptors to mess with our adrenal glands, to mess with our cortisol, which is going to jack up our blood sugars, which is then going to lead to what? Something like insulin resistance, right? Insulin resistance absolutely can come from a poor diet and lifestyle. No, there's no question. Okay. I'm not disparaging anybody who would say that. That's true. But in many cases, I believe that insulin resistance is truly the beginnings of a imbalance in hormones, starting with elevated estrogen and low progesterone. And we see that in females, and this is where we start seeing a lot of these females' diseases coming from. And they're really all coming from a similar thing. They're just being affected differently, right? So endometriosis to adenomyosis to even PCOS to even like a pelvic inflammatory type of reaction. They're all stemming from something quite similar. And so the reason I'm going so deep here, guys, is because these are the things I want you to start unraveling and understanding. When you start picturing these things and recognizing them at a foundational level, we can then not only treat our female patients who are maybe a little bit more straightforward, right? Our patients in menopause who are otherwise well and good, and they just need a little bit of hormone help, to our females who have and suffer from things like PCOS or endometriosis or infertility. We can start utilizing hormones for them and better yet, have an understanding of what actually needs to be applied and what things do we need to watch out for so we don't turn this into a situation where things are bad and now they're worse. We'll reverse it, right? We'll have a bad situation and make it great. And it gets better over time. And so the advanced female course is really going to speak to that. We're going to graduate now. Now that you understand these really deep principles, now we need to start applying these principles and expanding upon these principles so that we're going to look at PCOS and endometriosis and all these things through such a different lens. It's going to blow your mind. And I really mean that. It's a revolutionary approach and critical thinking, the whole thought process behind what we've heard or been taught, if any of us have been. Because again, I feel like PCOS and endometriosis aren't really discussed in great depth or frequency in any of our programs. Even those I've worked with who have gone into OB-GYN for a living, like it's not something that's just heavily concentrated on. And the approaches are pretty much just, well, let's just chemically castrate these women, right? If we just get rid of their hormones, they'll feel better. And by the way, I'm not necessarily disparaging people who've done that. I understand the thought process there. But guys, that's no different than a person has an autoimmune disease. Let's just give them an immunosuppressant. If we just get rid of their immune system, shouldn't we fix the problem? And yes, that will fix the symptoms. It doesn't fix the root of the problem, though, right? And again, I understand there may be a time and place for those things, but when it comes to a female or a male, I don't care who you are, we should never, ever resort to chemical castration if we don't have to. And I think the idea is that so often we do have to, when in reality we do not. And we can move towards something that is much safer and effective, which is just good old-fashioned bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. That would be the ticket. And the idea is to start treating these women at much earlier and younger ages so that we can actually arrest or even reverse the beginnings of what could be PCOS, endometriosis, adenomyosis, infertility. Because there are patients where they get to a point in life in which it is, I never like to use the word impossible, it is very difficult, close to impossible to get these patients back to a state of normalcy, quote unquote, or optimal state without using some very big levers. Those would be things like, GLP-1s and things of that nature, which I go over in this course, guys. I literally talk about GLP-1s and how we can utilize them for females in those positions, microdosing, all that stuff. You guys are just you're going to be blown away. This course is so detailed, it's so in depth, and it's so interesting that, again, it's just going to rearrange everything you've ever thought of when it comes to female health, and also make you an absolute rock star, a legend in your community, in your practice, and in your clinic. You're going to be the expert in your industry, and it's going to matter. And I don't care how many other people take this course, it's not going to take that away, because there are millions upon millions, tens of millions of people in the United States, let alone the world, who need your help. And there is a massive shortage of providers. If every provider in the world got trained in HRT university systems, we would still need more providers. We would need more help. Okay. That's how serious this stuff is. That's how prevalent it is. And that's how important it is that you understand where you fit into this whole system at large. You are a pioneer. You are the go-getter. And I want you to take home great money because you're providing unbelievable service to people. And if you don't provide that service to people, they're going to go find someone who can, or even worse, they're going to find someone who says they can, but they really can't. And they end up worse off than they were before. That's what I want to stop, because you and we're going to co-create something that's, again, really valuable and meaningful to our patients. We're going to become the experts that we need to be so that we can take care of our patients. And we're going to do something that, again, is groundbreaking and revolutionary. And I'm just so excited for you guys to join me. So before this advanced female course comes out, and this is going to be written all over the place, guys, I highly encourage and recommend that you take the Foundational Female HRT University course. It is either in the master course, which seriously, guys, you might as well just take that, because you're going to want to learn thyroid. You got to know the ins and outs of thyroid if you want to be successful in the advanced female course. That course is in there too. If you buy 2 courses, like solo courses, might as well just spend the money and get the whole kit and caboodle, the master course. You'll never regret it. It's the best. It is by far the best value out there. It is by far the deepest level of knowledge that you can get. And the transformation that I've seen in the students that have taken it, the almost 300 students now, it's unbelievably transformational. And so when you take that course, you will be prepared to take that advanced female course. If you walk into that advanced female course without that foundational knowledge, it's going to be rough. It's not going to click for you. And I feel like you're just going to be disappointed. Seriously. So guys, I hope this has been helpful. I hope that I've helped kind of explore some of the ideas, some of the concepts. Again, the advanced female course, we're going to go over PCOS, endometriosis, adenomyosis, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, PMDD. I know a lot of you guys see that or want to help treat that. Absolutely. Anxiety, depression, postpartum and beyond. We go over OCD, believe it or not, how could we help treat and manage OCD with hormone replacement therapy? We're going to go over cancers. What do we do with patients who have breast cancers and things of that nature? We even touch on hair loss, sexual wellness. This course is going to be revolutionary and groundbreaking, and I want you guys in on it. So be prepared. You will hear about it. Believe me. We're going to post it all over Facebook. You'll see it in my daily emails. If you're not on my daily email yet, you got to be on there. It's the best place to get this information first. I don't like hanging out on Facebook. It's not my favorite place to be. I love my daily emails. We have such good connection there. You can respond back anytime and I'll reply, kind of thing. But again, my daily email, will leave a link to opt in. It'll be in the link below the podcast here. So drop in there, take a peek, become one of the subscribers. There's 1,000 plus NPs on that list now. It's freaking awesome. And I just provide a ton of free value and content. There's no BS ever. You know me, I'm not a big BS and fluff guy. I just want to provide real value and something that you can hang your hat on at the end of the day. So, all right, guys, have a great rest of your day and see you at the next episode.